a minute or two before we start the net. If anybody else want to go ahead and check in to be number 9, you're welcome to come now.
WA7YBS.
Good morning there, Henry. I got you in the 9 spot there, bud. All righty. Anybody else want to check in a few minutes early and be number 10? You're welcome to come now. We'll go ahead and get the net started. So good morning to all. This is the Vintage Military Radio Net. This is Chuck, K0DWC, and I'll be in net control this morning, and we'll be on 3.974 megacycle. Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for licensed hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, certainly not a requirement, and check-ins will be given a number that can be used on the handoff. Excuse me, I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session, and if anyone has anything for sale or want, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So I'll give you the list as I have heard in order. In the number 1 spot is Ron, NU6F. In the 2 spot is Jerry, W6JRY. In the number 3 spot is Steve, W6SSP. In the 4 spot is Bob, W6AQU. In the 5 spot is Mike, W7MS. In the 6 spot is Dave, W6MQI. In the 7 spot is Rich, KE6QK. And number 8 spot is Bill, N6BCT. And in the number 9 spot is Henry, WA7YBS. So number 10 spot is open. If you'd like to be number 10 for the Vintage Military Radio Net, come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, anyway, good morning again to all. And we're running the standard net control station here this morning, AR213, 200 watt, 340V, V104 microphone, and we're listening on the R45, ARR7. And I just wanted to tell you guys, after last week's net, I spent most of the morning after the net last Sunday, looking over all the past records for this net, starting with the very first net, which was on January the 23rd of 2011. And Henry was the net control for that inaugural net. But I got to say, I found that we have a new check-in record as of last week. The previous record was 14 check-ins on the 29th of October of last year, which was our ART-13 roundup. And the new record was 15 check-ins on the 25th of February, 2024 on our regular net. So my congratulations to all, and everybody did a fantastic job as usual. And you know, that's a really, you know, in a way that can be kind of a hard record to break, you know, but who knows, you know, we might break it again. So anyway, I just thought I'd let you guys know, you know, to your credit, I appreciate you being there, and thanks for that. So anyway, with that, we will go ahead and we will start round 1, and we will go up to Ron, who has 16 inches of snow, I believe you said, Ron. NU6F, K0DWC.
Okay, let's see if I got it. Yeah. We're running a little light, 150 watts. Anyhow, on the TDE3, I'm standing here by the door so you can hear the MG set, which does sound like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. Anyhow, and receiving on the RAL, the antenna right now is the 170-foot long wire, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think one of these go-arounds here, I'm going to switch over to the loop and see how it compares. So, good morning, Chuck, Jerry, Steve, Bob, Mike, Dave, Rich, Henry. The signal's a little weaker than they were last week, but perfect copy. Okay, with that, up to Jerry, W6JRY, NU6F.
Okay, thank you, Ron. NU6F in the group, W6JRY, here in Forest Ranch. Expected snow, everything they were talking about on the radio and TV and so on. We got just kind of a football here at our location. We're 2,400 feet. It's outside is 38 degrees, inside the shack is 50, and there's of course up in the usual spots. 5 north of Redding, you know, lots of snow up that direction, and of course up in the Sierras and so on. A lot of Truckee and those areas which generally get it are getting it pretty good, I guess. Everybody's a good copy here this morning. Good morning to all, and not a lot to report here, so I'll keep it moving for the first round here and send it down there to you, Steve. W6SSP in the group. Oh, just a minute. I was going to say equipment here today. We're on the 32V3 transmitter, 100 watts. Well, actually, no, it's about 90 watts output on it. 90 watts output into the antenna, and the receiver is the 75A4. Usual delta loop antenna, which has not come down so far in the winds. We have been having some pretty high winds here too, I guess, but not as bad as areas to the east. Okay, Steve, over to you. W6SSP and the group W6JRY.
Okay, Jerry. Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. And Chuck, you know, as far as the check-ins go last week at 15, that's pretty epic, and it wouldn't happen without the net control stations, which are you and Henry, of course. So thank you for herding the cats over the years. It's pretty nice, nice net here, nice group of folks, a nice group of equipment too. Anyway, this is Steve, W6SLP, just north of Santa Rosa. Old Santa Rosa. It's in the low 30s here. In the shack, it's pretty chilly. There's no heat in here. And let's see, the equipment today is the usual Collins 32V1 transmitter and 75A1 receiver into a dipole about 30 feet up or so. D104 microphone. And we'll keep it moving. Over to Bob, W6AQU, W6SSP.
Okay, very good, Steve. Here. The storm took 2 antennas down. We're using a makeshift antenna. 150 going out and 100 coming back. We're probably pretty wimpy over there. Not much some snow here, nothing like that. We got some over there.
Thank you, Bob. W6AQU, W7NS, like in Reno. Good morning, and a hearty welcome to my receiver here. while listening to the vintage military Nevada style net. That's my definition for it this morning. So this morning running the BC375, about 90 watts out to a coax fit dipole, the usual antenna. Microphone is the Shure T17B, 1943 contract. And listening on the one and only high-ranked 5-star Helicrafters receiver, the R274D. So that's the setup here. You got the snow report earlier, and Ron covered that again. So I think we're done with the weather reports. But since there may not be a chance, if there are a bunch of latecomers here to in an attempt to break the record, I'm going to comment on something I discovered in a cache of old QSL cards. And this was a postcard to dated February 24th, 1936 to Radio W6GNY, and I'm going to go through this. It's only a paragraph or two, but it's a great little signal report. While listening on my all-wave BC receiver tonight to CRCX Toronto on 6100KC at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, imagine my surprise to hear you calling W9HTM and a little later CQ. The Lord may know what you were doing on 6100KC, but He refuses to let me know, let me in on the secret. So maybe you can enlighten me. The signal was quite good, strong with a chirpy DC note. I would be interested to know what frequency you thought you were on at the time. 73 HB Kroger. 12 Robley Street, Yonkers, New York, radio N2ALL. And of course that was dated February 24th, 1936. So hopefully no one is transmitting on 6100KC this morning. So over to Dave, W6MQI, W7MS.
W7MS, W6MQI, looking at my frequency counter, making sure I'm on frequency, and I am off a little bit. This thing just doesn't want to stay on frequency today. Yeah, good morning, everybody. And, all right, sorry, getting sidetracked there. Good morning, everybody. This is Dave in Livermore. And all stations are sounding good. Bob, you're really light, though, this morning. Almost barely copying Bob. Everybody else is sounding fine. And we're on the TCK7 transmitter today with a D104 microphone. And listening on the R390A receiver. And no snow here, at least down in the valley. I'm sure there is up in the hills. Can't see them right now because of the cloud cover, but yep. Hopefully we're on going to be. I haven't looked at the weather. Hopefully it's going to start drying out here. It's kind of done with the rain. And Jerry, I got that email with that guy with the charging. I think it was a Tesla. That was pretty funny. The poor guy at the end, though, getting hit by I don't know, a seat or something, knocking him out. That wasn't cool, but good video there. But anyway, over to let's see, Rich, KE6QK, W6MQI.
W6NQI. This is and the group KE6QK returning. Okay, very good. Thank you, Dave. Interesting morning here in Fallon. First of all, I switched microphones here. I'm back on the Shure 1961 Shure controlled magnetic green bullet microphone. Got rid of the Rockstar microphone yesterday. Modulation monitor is peaking in the red here, so I don't have a scope on this at the moment. What the change in here today is the DX100B, same transmitter, 100 watts. Told you about the microphone. We turned off the IC7300 Yesterday I went back in the shack, got out my Drake R8 digital receiver, brought it up here. I'm using that today. Interesting, the S-meter readings are about the same as the 7300. Pretty good shortwave listening receiver from about 1991. And the antenna is the usual half-wave, end-fed, long wire rather. Receiving on the R8's receiving on a dipole. The news this morning, yesterday in this wonderful storm, I lost my 9.7 repeater at Lahontan Hill. It just went off the air. I have a PTZ security camera up there. I swung it around. It can see the lower transmit antenna at 40 feet. It's missing. It's gone. So it was a diamond ham fiberglass antenna, which I should know better. I've lost so many of them in 30 years. They cannot survive at 8,000 feet. They have done a good job at 5,000 feet. It's the first one that has broken in Silver Springs, but it's gone. I switched everyone over to the 441875, which is working well. Echo Link is now over there if you go on there. Other information, the storm brought all the tumbleweeds in my yard. My east gate is totally blocked. I'm going to have to take my large trailer and haul that stuff off at some point if the sun comes out. The weather report, we have 2 inches of snow. It's 33 degrees. It's light snowing now. And that's about the rundown from Fallon. So let's get it over quickly to Bill. N6BCT, KE6QK. Go ahead, Bill.
That's all I can say. Anyway, we have about 40 years to do something. Yesterday we had 1.65 inches of rain in the airspace. That was over back of the town, so don't check it until later when we get right. Anyway, so that's the storm here. So I'm going to
Okay, stand by just a second while I tune up a little bit. I unfortunately have to get out of my chair to do that. This W7 might be interesting. Okay, that concludes the tune-up session. And so, good morning to all. Good signals from everybody. I understood Bob to say he was on a makeshift antenna, and that might be why he was very difficult to copy. And so anyway, that was the only problem. Everybody else sounds fine. Conditions are okay. And yeah, we didn't really get very much snow out of this Friday. I think we got an inch or two, which melted Saturday during the day, and then last night we got about 2 inches. The problem was the wind. One of my 60-foot cottonwood trees broke about in the middle. Actually, it's probably about 20 feet up. It broke. So about 40 feet of it's laying in the field behind the house. And so that was pretty gusty wind. And because that was a healthy tree. It was not rotten. So it just snapped it. And so fortunately we have quite a few of them, but that was a nice one. It was about, probably about 40 or so feet from the shop. So anyway, luckily it fell over the other way. It didn't fall on the shop. And so that was the damage that ensued from the storm. And the snow-wise, negligible. Wind was the big factor. And so that's the report from Dayton, where it was 27 degrees this morning, and it is it's trying to clear up here. So anyway, we're on the Viking 1 transmitter, and I think it looks like it looks like we're hitting it pretty hard. So I think we're modulating okay. And it's running about 100 watts output power, and I'm using the D104 microphone, no amplified bass. The D104 goes directly into the grid of the first audio amplifier tube in the Viking 1. So that's the story there on the transmitter. The receiver is the National 1948 NC-183 K0DWC receiver, and I got it going to a bass reflex box with a 12-inch speaker, so everybody sounds pretty cool. So that's the rundown. Back to Chuck, K0DWC WA7YBS.
Okay, Henry. Hey, that Viking 1 sounds really good, Henry. Really good. Microphone, transmitter. I could kind of tell you were on that. You know, I think that, I don't know, to me anyway, listening to that, it's got a distinctive sound, kind of all its own, compared to the other stuff, which I know the other stuff that you run and all, but I can kind of tell when you're on that. But it sounds really good, that Viking 1. So good deal. All right. Well, let's see if there's anybody that wants to be number 10, be on the tail end of the first round. If you'd like to check in, come now.
WE6 Jacks, Kings, and Nines. Good morning, and that Viking 1 sounds good, Henry. Really good.
Good morning, Kevin. Go ahead and make a transmission there, sir, and send it back on up to me, WA6JKN, K0DWC.
Yeah, I got in here a little late, wait for the coffee pot to finish brewing, and had to get the dogs out so they could do their duty. And, well, we had a pretty good downpour through the night. No damage here. We're very, very fortunate that this year so far, knock on wood, no trees falling over like Henry. Boy, that must be something. That's a big tree, and it fell in the right direction. I can't imagine it coming down on the shop there. Boy, that's something. Yeah, our tree. We used to have a big tree out front, and it just became way too much work with the wind and stuff like that. I always thought that the tree was a little on the weak side, but always healthy, according to the arborist, or what do they call those guys that come out and check it. And we had branches fall on the house, but they weren't heavy enough to do any damage. So other than that, I'm on the ICOM 7610 this morning. I reached over to fire up the KW Sugar 1, and I remembered I had some cables disconnected because I was going to insert a new digital frequency meter so I can monitor the frequency, and I haven't finished that yet. So, yeah, that was kind of a disappointment. I should have finished it yesterday. Oh, well, it keeps me busy, that's for sure. Well, it's good to hear everybody. I think when I first got in here, it was Bob, Abel Queen Uncle. I think that's who it was, but the signal was real light. I couldn't tell for sure. So, and I heard all the transmissions from that point forward. in there, and he was light. Everybody was light except for Dave, MQI. He was 30 over here. So that's the bank conditions as is this morning. So there you go. I get my wake up a little bit here, I guess. All right. Well, there you go. Back to you. Thank you very much for picking me up there, Chuck. WA6JKN.
Okay, Kevin, you're sounding good this morning. WA6JKN. All righty. Just real quick, for those that didn't hear, earlier I was talking to Bob, W68QU, and he had a big failure on one antenna, and he's on a makeshift antenna, so as a result of that, he is coming in kind of weak, but he did have some antenna problems, so he's doing the best he can with what he's got over there, so but it is a makeshift antenna. Okay, let's see here. Does anybody else want to check in and be number 11 on the tail end of the first round? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So all signals are good here. Henry, the Viking ones is really sounding great. Rich, the 100B sounds great on 100 watts. Kevin, the ICOM 7610 sounds wonderful. And Dave, the TCK7 sounding great. Mike, the BC375 sounds really good with that T17 microphone. So good, clear, crisp audio on that. That was a great job getting that set up like that, man. That thing really running good. Steve and Jerry on the 32Vs are sounding great, and Ron on the TDE sounds great with the motor generator in the back, which sounds really cool. So good deal all the way around. Like I said, Bob is a little bit light, but he is on a makeshift antenna, but I can copy Bob okay. So anyway, we'll go ahead and start round 2, and we'll go back up to the top to Ron, NU6F, in the group K0DWC.
Okay, well, yeah, better copy that time on everybody, although I did hear my bogey QRN showed up again here on 75, well, the one that's on 80, every 13 KC. But anyhow, it's luckily conditions are enough to overcome that. Good morning there, Radio Free Gilroy, Kevin. Good to hear you in there. And Henry, yeah, the Viking one sounds great. And to think you can drive it with an unamplified D104. So yeah, that was an old school mic amp. And Bill, I heard Bill better on the loop than I did on the long wire, but everybody else I've been switching back and forth, and the long wire's been better. So there you go. Oh, and also I heard Bob AQU better on the loop. So whatever that means. And Rich, sorry to hear about the comet chunks of fiberglass flying around somewhere on the property around the repeater. Yeah, it's a harsh environment, and good deal on having the Drake receiver instead of the ICOM. So we're getting closer to the same vintage transmitter and receiver. Dave, TCK sounding good with the R390. I was thinking, as you were saying what you use for the receiver, just think back in the day, you're a Navy radio man, and you got an RAL, and then somebody rolls in an R390A as it came through a time travel deal. They plug it in. Wow, can you imagine that radio operator's ears when he heard that compared to the epitome of tube technology? And Mike, good deal on the BC375. I know we eyeballed it this week, and it looks pretty, and it sounds pretty. I guess I'd have to say it's the best sounding BC375 I've heard yet. So great audio, but then you did get the tubes from ham and hi-fi. So you got the hi-fi tubes out of the batch. That's pretty funny on the QSL card. The official observer from 1936. Imagine my surprise when I heard your chirpy signal on 6100. Bob, AQU, yeah, we could sure tell you were on your standby antenna. Steve, sounding good. And I'm wondering if there's any more R390A reports. But I'm guessing even if another wheelbarrow showed up, you probably wouldn't get another. And Jerry, good deal on holding down the fort in the basement. And I imagine it's not quite as cold as it was down here, although it's been pretty warm for wintertime. And ditto on the Tesla charger. Wow. I did have an antenna issue here. Yesterday on 10-meter CW, I heard great 5x8 signal from one of the regulars I talked to in Japan, and he came back, well, you're a lot weaker than normal. I didn't think much of it. The second QSO and the same thing. Anyhow, I went out and checked, and my 170-foot long wire was a 6-foot long wire. One of the splices broke from the downlead from that wind, and here it was. I had 6 foot of wire laying on the snow, but 10 meters was still good enough for pulling off that QSO, so that was kind of funny. All right, that's my rundown. With that, up to Jerry, W6JRY, Forest Ranch, NU6F.
Okay, NU6F in the group, W6JRY. Okay, good copy on everybody. Good morning to you, Kevin. You've got a good signal in here right up the valley. And, yeah, Ron, all okay on the battery thing. I thought that was pretty funny when somebody sent that to me anyway. But I guess those problems are still happening with a variety of pieces of equipment using those. And I don't know if they're ever going to, well, I'm sure they will solve some of those problems. Your setup there, Ron, sounding great, and okay on the RAL receiver. A little bit of QSB, not quite as good a conditions as last weekend, but still good copy on everybody. I'm copying Bill Fine with his 25 watts there, and I'm trying to decide, it's a little hard to decide who is the strongest here, but Mike is surprising me with the BC 375. I don't know if you've got anything else hung on the end of that or not with your various amplifiers around there, but it really sounds good using the R20 274 Helicopters, I think it is there, yeah. And Henry, okay on the Viking 1, it sounds good here, 100 watts, and the National 183, I guess you're using there along with that. Yeah, I got to get my Viking 2, my ugly Viking 2 on the air here one of these times. Later on when things warm up, I can rotate some of this equipment. The only project I had going radio-wise this last week was my 274N modulator here, the BC 456A modulator that goes with the 274N setup. I did pull it off the setup here and put it on the bench, and got the cover off from it on the bottom and started checking parts, and it was kind of difficult. It was slow messing around there with it, with all that MFP. Really, somebody did a good job with the MFP on it. So, you know, and it scraped the contacts and so on and so on. Still haven't found a problem with it yet, and I'm not exactly sure it's the problem. It may, I didn't get a chance to check the transmitter, but it just seems more suspicious as a modulator problem. But there could be something going on with the transmitter, or maybe some other of the interconnection equipment as far as the control boxes and so on. So no headway on that project yet. Let's see, Henry. Boy, the big cotton tree breaking off there sounds like some of the oaks over here. Once in a while it'll go down off the side of the hill. And sometimes you never know when that's going to happen. But just remembering a lot of cottonwoods along some of the rivers over there in Nevada, you can see a lot of pieces of wood laying around the ground. They do break off, get soaked up with water, and then generally, if it isn't the wind in the wintertime, sometimes the drying out in the summertime does them in. So anyway, Steve, you're sounding good there on your 32V setup and dipole. So, Dave, okay on the TCK there, AR390. You're about one of the loudest signals here for me, but generally we kind of have a pretty good path there too. So, let's see, that's enough out of me, and I'll move it along to Steve there. And I wonder if you talked to Jason lately there. W6SSP in the group, W6JRY.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Nothing much going on here. It's right about. So, middle of winter, things still kind of long. So, Ron, the TDE sounds fantastic, and you know, I'm a little burned out on our 390As for if everyone put up my path for a good price like the last few, I'd snap it up. It's a bad habit I have, but I'm also focused on those things. And, you know, signals are pretty good today. However, the Nevada stations are weaker than usual. Only break the noise floor about Q3 or Q4. But he copy that you're using the Viking 1, which is cool. Very, very nice transmitter. And a shout out, Henry, for your excellent article on the National MC-173 183 series. Very, very informative. And let's see, Mike, your DC-375 sounds absolutely fantastic. I never would have guessed that's what you were on, just from listening to it. And Dave, your TCK, you're the strongest signal as usual today. You're, I don't know, you're very strong today. Let's see, projects the last couple of weeks I've had one of the bargain transceivers I picked up at Lincoln, which is the approx G311D. I've had that on the bench for a while. I'm mostly just using it. And it seemed to work okay. Looking at 20 meters mostly, 40 meters as well. And I decided even though it worked well, it seemed to be okay. I decided, well, let's go try London on the front end. Boy, does that make a big difference. It went from just okay to wow. Really good. Internal noise is pretty high on it. The receiver on that thing is hot. Much hotter than I ever realized it was. So that was real good. Although people want to some of the winter so get to play around with it. And so that's about it for here. Now send it up to Bob.
W6AQU, W6FST. Well, thank you, Bob. W6AQU, W7MS, comment on signal report. So far, Bob's been 100% reception for the duration here. Obviously, he's had some limitations with the default antenna, but still doing well. And Bill is N6BCG is just pounding in. Of course, Kevin is pinning the S-meter. And here we go. We're going into the change of seasons because some QSB on Steve's signal, and then his report from the signals in Nevada. So it's not unusual, but it kind of tells us that we're heading into hours of daylight. And thank goodness, spring is on the calendar. It's supposed to be here in a couple of weeks. But comments, Ron, great on the shorty antenna on 10 meters. Probably was still outperforming one of those isotron antennas, so I mean, good job. Probably some efficiency over a radiating dummy load, but good job, good story on that. And Jerry, thanks for the report on the 375. Yeah, about 80 watts, 90 watts of carrier. Setup here. Steve is sort of backtracking on his addiction to the R390s, but if the price is right, he'll still jump in. So that's fine. I was able to beat that addiction years ago, and I was able to default to Henry. He got some good buys there in the early days of the location in Sparks there. And well, I'm only looking at 4 here in Studio A. Not being braggadocious, but maybe I'm thinking actually they need to be exercised and used. But let me see. Yeah, Dave sounded great on the TDK as always. Rich, great antenna story in the wind. We won't go into old user stories, but I've got some good stories too. But back when I used to be young and dumb, but now I'm just old and dumb. And Henry, okay on the tree. Cottonwoods are great, but short-lived and not very stout of heart, as discovered, unfortunately, at your QTH. And of course, Kevin, as I said, is doing fantastic on the carrier level meter. So, for today, W6MQI, W7MS.
W7MS, W6MQI. All right. Hey, Mike. Yep, I would have never known you were on a BC375. Sounded pretty good. Your signal's a little light than you normally are, but sounded good here. And good morning to Kevin. And Kevin, next time you come on frequency, give me a warning, man. You damn near blew the coil out of my speaker here. You're so loud. Man, sounded really, really good here in the Livermore. And what else? We got Henry, your Viking one sounds really good. You mentioned how your D104 is hooked into the first, on the grid of the first audio amp. I had thought about doing that on the TCK, but I ended up going through there's an audio transformer. I ended up going through that first to see how it works. That's what I'm doing here. I'm not going to use the amplified D104. The audio sounds really good. And Ron, 390A. Yeah, not quite period, is it? I got rid of my RAL receiver, so I don't really have anything around here that will match with the TCK. Maybe someday. I just don't have the room for anything else, so kind of stuck. Projects. I finally got my external automatic PR device on the side of my TCK, so I key the microphone. It's also got a sequencer in it using an Arduino. I wrote some code to sequence it some relays, so that the key the dial switch is keyed. Milliseconds later, the receiver is muted, and a few milliseconds later, the transmitter is keyed. And it works all in the opposite direction when I let up on the push to talk. So that's working really well. And got some little bit, my timing's a little slow on the sequencer. I'm going to have to tweak it a little bit. It comes up a little slower than I would like. But no more hot switching. I don't have to use a insulated screwdriver or something to hold it down when I let up on the push to talk to keep the transmitter from hot switching. But it works really well. And let's see, my 10-tech stash, the Omni 6 Plus, I went through that. It all seems to work. And the automatic antenna tuner does not work. It just goes into fault condition. So it's got something wrong with it. I noticed that some of the switches on the front panel are acting a little funky. Maybe I got some a bad switch. 10-tech, some of their parts are kind of cheap. But I don't know if I'm going to look into it or not. I don't really have a need for the automatic antenna tuner. And the Titan 425 amplifier. As Steve knows, I was missing the high voltage cable, and I was able to 3D print a couple connectors to screw on to the, I guess it's a James Millen high voltage connector. Looks like they're made out of bakelite or something. I have the female part that's in the amplifier and the power supply, but I don't have the other side for the cable. So I 3D printed some connectors. One more thing I got to do on it, and then I can throw on the amplifier and see if it works. It has a pair of 3CX800A7s in it. And I took the cover off the amplifier. Didn't look like things are too cooked, so hopefully they're okay. If they're bad, the amplifier is trash can material as far as I'm concerned. I was looking up replacement tubes, $1,700 a piece. I mean, $3,400 to replace the tubes in an amplifier. Yeah, I'm not going there. That's crazy. Might as well buy another amplifier with that kind of price. But let's hope. I got my fingers crossed on that one. And what else have been doing here? I know I've been doing something else, but anyway, I can't think of it. So over to Rich.
KV6QK.
W6MQI.
W6MQI, KV6QK. Okay, Dave. Fine on the projects there. Keep busy. I'm coming back into ham radio now because of you guys. I was kind of in the doldrums all winter, trying to keep warm in the house, but I resurrected the Globe Scout project here. I have to rebuild the VFO. I have no drive. I did the paperwork schematics on it to make an interface. When I restore, I don't like to change the old equipment from its original thing. I try to figure out how to get around making modifications that shouldn't be in there. But I've got the cable laid out between the VFO and the Globe Scout now. News on this Drake R8, guys. I don't know if you believe me or not, but I like this Drake R8 better than the ICOM 7300 on AM. Man, this is sounding real good. Everyone's over 9. I can copy Bill better down in Half Moon Bay. He's a 6, 7, 8 in that area there. Everyone else is over 9. The Drake is set up here with an Electro Voice music speaker. It's a two-way with a tweeter. Sounds really good. And I'm flipping through the bandwidth here. It's got the Drake has 6, 4, 2.8, and 0.5 bandwidth for ancient modulation here, and I like the sound better at 4 kilohertz. Just my preference right now. That's what I'm listening on now. What I'm going to do here in the future, I'm going to bring a different receiver up every net. I've got a Radio Shack DX302 back there. Not a high end, but it's a good receiver. I've got an SX101, HQ110, and a 75S1. I don't think I'll be bringing the SX101 up because I can't lift the damn thing. It's too heavy. It's too damn heavy to move around. Anyway, I'm having fun today. Sorry about the tree, Henry. I lost the repeater antenna. You lost the tree. And again, say again, Bill is sounding much better on this particular receiver. Anyway, I want to keep it. Let's keep moving. Let's see who is next. Bill. M6 DCT KV6QK. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Stand by just a second while I retune the antenna. Okay. Tweaking and deaking. So anyway, very good on all. Everybody. And let's see. Let me, on that conduit tree, I have probably, I don't know, there's probably 3 on the property that were 60 feet tall at least. Maybe a little bit taller than that. But, this is one of the tall ones that broke in the middle. I don't know, it wasn't really the middle. 40 feet fell on the ground and 20 feet still up. It stands in the middle, almost in the middle. And, the wood is good. It was not rotten. It just was not forceful gust last night. It was something else. And I'm sure that's what did it in. Was there was 2 gusts, and they had to have been, well over 80 miles an hour, if not 100. But there were just 2 of them, and that was all it took. And that was, but the other thing I lost Friday was I didn't really lose it, but it's this collinear array antenna that I'm using. It's kind of funny. What happened was one of the counterweights there, I had it tied. It sounds kind of crappy, but I tied the end of the counterweight pulley rope to a sagebrush, big one, and it's it held up on that sagebrush at the trunk for quite a few years. Well, Friday came home from the store, and the sagebrush was up in the air, about 6 feet, and the counterweight was down on the ground. And so anyway, that was kind of funny. That was pretty windy on Friday also. And sure enough, I tried to pull everything back and tie somewhere else, but when it pulled up that sagebrush, the rope in the pulley jumped the wheel, and it stuck in there. So I have to take it all down to fix that. But the good thing is that end of the collinear array is still about 10 feet off the ground. So it's working okay. And but anyway, that was kind of funny to come home and see that sagebrush so about 6 feet up in the air. So anyway, enough about that. And let's see. Thanks, Steve, on the that you've already taken a look at the NC-173, NC-183 article. I just doubled the size of that article, and I uploaded 20 more photographs. I did that yesterday. So if you looked at it since then, you saw the new expanded version. You saw the first version of it. Edition 2 is out now, and it's quite a bit larger. Like I said, double the size of it. So let's see. Bike, yeah, R274. Helicopter's best effort, but too bad they couldn't sell them as SX-73s. But $900 for a receiver in 1952 was kind of dreaming on Bill Halligan's part. But anyway, it's a great receiver, and designed by the Signal Corps, of course. So I really like them. And the BC-375 sounds really good. And it's my opinion anyway that most of the problems with the BC-375 is centered on 2 things: trying to run them on the dynamotor and not having a really sufficient power supply to keep the dynamotor running steady, and then lack of neutralization. in there. And I don't know if you're using a dynamotor or you're using DC power supplies, but you know, it overcomes so many problems with the 375 when you have a good, solid power supply on that transmitter. Yours sounds fantastic. And let's see what else. Yeah, the story of the disappearing antenna, the repeater antenna that was no more. That's pretty funny. And the green dispatcher microphone. The nickname for that particular microphone for sure was the dispatcher. They're cool microphones. And okay, thanks Kevin for the comments on the Viking 1. And yeah, it belonged to Tom W7TC, and I built it up for him in 2008 from 3 carcasses. So it's really a kind of a conglomeration of 3 different Viking 1s to get one kind of halfway decent one. So anyway, there we go. And let's see, with that I'll turn it over to Kevin, WA6JKN, WA7YBS.
Yeah, okay, Henry. Yeah, I was just reading your article on the National 183 series. Yeah, I'm just started. A lot of good information, loads of pictures. Yeah, and the differences between the 183, 183D. I happen to have 183D and a 183 with the original speakers, and boy, you're right about that. The 6V6 on the 183D, boy, that audio just sounds beautiful. That was always my standard, you know. If I can find a receiver or a transceiver that had that kind of quality, that would be the cat's meow. But you know, there are some that get pretty close, but not really. That 183D is the king of all audio. That's in my opinion. So anyway, Dave, sorry about your S-meter there. I was trying to figure out how to give you a warning. So what I was going to do is I was going to turn down the drive really low and then slowly bring it up and warn you. I says, okay, I'm bringing up the drive. All right. I think you were talking about a screwdriver and holding the antenna relay to prevent hot switching or whatever. I'm not sure I fully understood that, but it did bring a memory of Collins had a slight design firm that was producing hot switching on a KW1, and it would produce a 30,000 or 38,000. Sorry about the dog there. 38,000 volt DIDT in the final amplifier, and it would arc across the arc gaps, and if those weren't adjusted right, it would take out amplifier vacuums and stuff like that. Band switch would it was just a mess. So they came out without sending out a service bulletin and changed the design around serial number 50-something or another. And I have serial number 18. And to implement that fix, it was going to be somewhat of a kludge because you had to add a delay relay to hold the antenna relay closed after you release the push-to-talk and give enough time for the plate contactor to allow the high voltage to decay, prevent the hot switching. So basically what it did was it would hold a load, an antenna load on the PA until the power supply would decay after the plate contactor was energized. So I didn't want to add that kludge. So here's what I did real quickly. It was an AC relay, So I said, okay, well, AC relays should be operated using DC. Not the other way around. So what I did was I put a bridge, I got a transformer to reduce the voltage down to about 30 volts. And I put a full-wave bridge, safe bridge, on the output of that transformer. And then I connected the DC output of that bridge, that diode bridge, to the winding of the antenna relay. And then all I had to do was add a capacitor. And I chose about 250 microfarad. These are 250 or 450 microfarad capacitor. And the capacitor would be instantly charged by brute force, but when the voltage feeding the transformer, producing the low voltage power supply, would be disconnected through the push to talk, that capacitor would hold enough charge to hold that antenna relay operated. So it would hold it for about 2 seconds. You can change the value of that capacitor to pick the hold timing to whatever you want. And so it worked really well. So all the arcing and sparking disappeared like it was supposed to. That's the outcome. Save the damage that would occur from it wouldn't happen every time when you release the push-to-talk, but boy, if you did it just right, it would throw that 30 volt arc across the arc gap balls that are in the final. They have 2 of them in there. And it was very annoying because it would create a big old flash, and you would hear it, and you think something's really bad. And a lot of hands said, you know what, I'm getting tired of hearing that. I think if I just raise the gap, it won't arc over. Well, that's when they realized they would burn up their variable vacuums and that's what kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't know if that's applicable to you, but I thought I would share that. And everybody's taking both. It came up just a little bit, so that's great. And I'm looking at the list here to see who I turn it over to, and I think it goes back to Chuck, K0DWC. Over to you, sir. WE6JKN.
Okay, Kevin. You're good. All right. Well, let's see here. Just a few comments. You guys probably already know this. Next Sunday is daylight saving time, so daylight saving time begins March the 10th. And Rich, I'm sorry about your antenna going down up there on the mountain there. That kind of sucks, but I'm sure you will get that up and running very soon. So sounds like you've been through it before, but still pretty rotten. But I know you'll get it done. And, Mike, that QSL card, that's from 1936. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a pretty cool QSL card to have. So congratulations on that. And hey, I got a question for some of you guys, the ones that maybe run the contests and stuff. I was kind of talking to Henry a little bit about it yesterday. Carla and I were listening on her HRO60 on 20 meters, and there was a contest going on, but something we noticed was most of the guys that were doing the contest, they gave no QTH, and they weren't giving a total call sign, and that baffled me. And it seemed to be consistent that way, and I'm like, well, I don't know if there's a difference between a contest and the regular protocol or what, but we found it very strange that was happening. I don't know, if it's a special kind of call we got to give or a code or something, but maybe you guys could educate me on it. So anyway, for anybody out there that might have a comment. Anyway, we're working on some microphone stuff here. I got some parts yesterday and got a piece together, and still waiting on some stuff from France. Got some parts from the Netherlands yesterday, from Holland, and been messing with that. And guess that's pretty much it for my comments right here. So, is there anybody else that wants to check in on the tail end of the second round, be number 11? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So we'll do a quick 7-3 round, fellas, and then we'll wrap her up. So round number 3, 7-3 round. NU6F, take it. K0DWC.
Okay, good timing, Chuck. I'm going to have to split early, but I got in time to get in my last licks. Okay, Henry, on the flying sagebrush antenna. Yeah, it's too bad you didn't have your webcam outside catching that. But good save and not having to go ahead and figure out how to get back up in the tree. So that was a good deal. Rich, great on the Drake receiver, actually passing up the ICOM 7300. You know, I think you're correct. I've noticed that too. Sometimes the older stuff does a better job on the AM for whatever reason, more dynamic range, I don't know, some other esoteric thing. Dave, holy cow, 3D printing those Millen connections. You know, someday you'll have to go ahead and, tell us or email me on how you gain such expertise on 3D printers. I only spent a few hours one time. Larry got one and a couple years ago, and it's so frustrating trying to do anything, even with pre-made profiles that I tried modifying. So anyhow, you'll have to tell me how you picked up on coming up with a way to take dimensions, 3D dimensions, over into the real world with the printer. That's quite the deal. And Mike, I'm thinking somewhere out there's a B-17 waiting for that BC-375. But yeah, like we already said, never heard one like that. I would have never guessed it. So must be really neutralized. You added some Collins negative feedback to it, and you got a stiff supply. Sounds great. And Bob, hope you get the antenna situation squared away. Jerry, okay on fighting with the MFP. Well, I guess at our age, the fumes off of the MFP are the least of our worries. So good luck with that. Okay, guys, 73s. I'll catch you later on, and I may listen out in the car on KFS. With that, I'll pass it up to MFP Jerry, W6JRY, NU6F.
Okay, Ron. NU6F in the group W6JRY. Hey, Ron, I heard you. It wasn't last night. I think it was the night before. Up past your bedtime, 0600, I think it was, on 40CW, just doing one QSO after the other there. You had one guy there that was really going on there. He was sending about half again as fast as you was. I guess she was keeping up with him. Anyway, happened to run across you there on 40CW the day before yesterday in the evening there. So anyway, 7-3 to you. And Henry, I was watching the S meter when you retuned the antenna. There's a big difference here. So they brought your signal up. So maybe from the get-go, your signal actually come up here, and there is a gradual QSB, but it seemed to make a couple of nice units difference there with whatever tuning you was doing on the antenna. And on the Viking 1 there. My Viking 2 I have paired with the HRO 50 that I have. I've never had the 60. I kind of like those, but I have a 50, and I like it. I have one of the Red 73s, the Nationals, but I just I like the earlier international dial type receivers are kind of a little better than that run of receivers. And Mike, gee, I can't get over how good you've got that BC375 sounding. The 191 I had, I did a lot of the things that Henry was mentioning there and so on. I don't think I ever got it to sound as good as that thing is sounding to you. Incidentally, if you need a set of spare tubes, I have several sets when I still around here. I got rid of my 191. So anyway, I have spare tubes to trade for some small radio equipment of some sort or whatever. Other things I'm looking for, so if you're looking for any spares, well, let me know and maybe we can do some trading. And Dave, I really like your audio. I like Bob there. A couple old buzzers like us like the high frequencies, and I don't think they get with the low frequencies these days, and just wore out ears from years of all kinds of things, CW and noise and snapping and headsets and all that kind of stuff. And early on, not wearing ear protection too. None of it's from listening to rock music, because I don't do that much. But some of the earlier things we've done before hearing protection become pretty important. 73s to all from Forest Ranch. I hope the snow don't look too deep around some of the places. Maybe a little more coming before it lightens up a little bit. Let's see if I had any other comments here. Probably did, but can't find them now. Nice net this morning. Chuck, thanks for taking the net. And here's my 73s, and I'll get it over to you, Steve, W6SSP, and the group, W6JRY.
Okay, Jerry, thank you very much. Yeah, good man, as always. Chuck, thank you very much for taking the time. And congrats on yourself, dude. And audio that I picked up recently was top and bottom and even out. And Billy, very good on the Omni 6 Plus. Building up a couple of those for a couple more operating positions. And very good on the 3D printer for those high voltage connectors. I kind of wondered if that's what you were going to do. I don't think those connectors are too hard to find. On the 400 transmitters on XKCH. But I have seen pictures of them on other transmitters as well. Anyway, 72 guys, good net, and also conditions are fading quite a bit here, so I don't know if you remember. Send over to Bob. See you all next week.
appears that Bob has had a technical failure.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I don't hear him at all, so we'll go ahead and take it, Mike. We'll go ahead and skip Bob, and you can take it. We'll go on down the line, and I'll check and see if he's there at the end. W7MS, K0DWC.
Well, okay, thanks, Chuck. Yeah, I didn't hear him this time. I think he dropped out in mid-sentence, so maybe he popped a fuse, tripped a breaker. W7MS. Well, good morning and 73s to the folks who are still here in the round table and to the folks that have signed. A lot of comments here. Thanks, Jerry, for the offer. We will ponder that on the VT4Cs, but I'm sure there are some ears that perked up with the mention of those very desirable models for the 191 to 375. Thanks for all the comments on that. And yes, running a 2,000 watt, 28 volt switch mode supply, which of course is providing power to the filaments. The 1,000 volt DC is coming from the GRC-19 solid state dynamotor, and the regulation on that guy is supreme. Probably within a couple of percent from no load to full load. It's very great regulation. And I think the other thing that made it easy here was the Hewlett-Packard modulation analyzer, the 8901A, and I could switch that to FM mode, shoot a tone into the 375, and then just basically null it out for minimum FM deviation. So it's 1 or 2% according to the mod monitor with 1,000 cycle tone shoved through it. So it's it just made things easy on the setup. Great on the 183Ds, 173s. As I think Henry and Chuck would know from the old days, I have a 183D shoved in the closet and love those backlit lucite meters, or dial indicators, I should say, frequency indicators. And who knows, maybe someday, if there's enough conversation, we'll pull it out of the closet. And Dave, great on the Millen connectors. I always chuckle when I see those because they're high voltage connectors, but they certainly aren't OSHA or UL approved. There's many opportunities for electrocution, but it's amazing how long they hung out in their, of course, better, more desirable high voltage connecting devices that are inherently safe. But it's the way it is for those Millen connectors. And let me see, Kevin, great on relay timing and sequencing. Dave also comments on the high price of replacement ceramic tubes. No kidding. Especially, the ones that are sourced from the former Soviet Union and later the Russian Federation. I almost tripped up a Freudian slip and said Empire, but I think that's in process, the Russian Empire. But we got 7.3s from Reno, and we've got a few projects going here, but we'll save that for next week. Over to Dave, W6MQI, W7MS.
Yeah, W6MF, W6MQI. Boy, conditions are full soft here. But able to copy you there, Mike. Yeah, I didn't hear Bob at all, so probably gave up. But I printed this connector as a test. We'll see how it works. I think the high voltage on this plastic is all that good, so I don't think I'd be reaching around while it's hot. Touching something. But we'll see what happens. Maybe change the test and see if this darn amplifier even works. And I noticed RF Parts sells those Millen connectors. And just the part I needed was like $30, and I need 2 of them. So I'm going to try and make something first. So that's what I've got going here. Jerry, yeah, I concur on the audio. I think I have more communication audio, more highs, so easier to cut through the conditions. have much in the way of lows anymore as well. I tend to like the RU. It has more highs to it. Hey, Kevin. Yeah, that's basically the problem I was having here. The antenna TR switch was releasing before the transmitter was done kind of doing its thing. I had no RT connect on, but I was definitely getting about a quarter of a second hot switch. Well, that's not good. So what I was doing to solve the problem, I was taking an insulated screwdriver and holding the TR switch down until the transmitter gets done doing its thing. Using an Arduino. There's 3 relays in there that W6MQI, K6QK, fine business. The Queen Sugar Baker's coming in here now. This is a 73 round. I'll pass that along now. I'd like to pass a comment to Jerry. Your transmission, you were a solid 10 over from Forest Ranch. You are now competing with Michael, W7MS, which is usually the strongest from Reno. But you gave him a run for the money. There was a solid line from Forest Ranch to Fallon this last transmission, in spite of the Queen Sugar Baker. I'm going to make it quick here. I got some sea stories I can tell on future nets. I will be switching rigs. If I get the Globe Scout running this week, hopefully next week I'll come up on the Globe Scout and maybe the DX302. I love this net. I'm going to be switching out of the big ham shack to the garage here, and if I find a problem with it, the bench is right here, repair it, then put it back in the big shack. Thank you all. Love it very much. And the R8's doing really well. It really sounds good. N6BCT, KE6QK. Pick it up, Bill. I can't hear him anymore in Fallon.
I don't hear a carrier anymore, so I've been filtering it over the stage. I was getting them at first, but just went to oblivion. 73, everybody, and Jerry, what happens is the mismatch is, due to the snow on the ground and, that sort of stuff. And I noticed it makes about a 20-watt difference. And of course, that's at 100 watts, that's 20% of your power. So it may be a one-time mismatch right now, but I'm not going to go bother adjusting anything. And so anyway, everybody have a good one, and we'll hope to talk to everybody next weekend. I'll be net control. We'll hope for a little bit better conditions an hour earlier. Be on daylight savings time. Okay, 73, over to Kevin, WA6JKN, WA7YBS.
the timing exactly the way you want it done. How about that? Using hot stuff on old military gear. That's pretty cool. So 73, everybody. And I just finished a little while ago reading the 183D and the 173 So what a wealth of information. I really like that kind of stuff, and it's going to be very, very helpful to me, and I know other 183 series owners and so on and so forth. That is what you've done there, Henry, is just absolutely fantastic. I think you got one of the better ham-related websites going there with the good technical information and with pictures and everything else. I love it. Congratulations for a job well done. Okay, that's it for me. I think there might have been someone after me. I'm not sure. But 73, everybody have a great weekend. What's left of it anyway. K0DWC, WA6JKN.
Okay, Kevin, W6JKN, K0DWC. I'm just going to be courteous and give a shout out to Bob, W6AQU. Bob, are you there? This is K0DWC. Okay, Mike. Yeah, thanks. I don't hear anything either. He's probably shut down. Okay. All right, fellas. Well, great net as always, and appreciate you guys being there, each and every one of you. And Henry will be next control next week, as he has said. We will talk to you guys next weekend. We'll shut the net down. Thank everybody again. Invite everybody back next Sunday morning. So with that, Carlos says 73s as well. So with that, I'll turn the frequency back over to regular use. So take care, guys. Have a safe week ahead, and be careful on the road. So 73s, guys. This is K0DWC. And Henry, I'll give you a holler later on the phone this afternoon. And you guys take care. This is K0DWC signing off.